Hey guys, it's Smalls, and I'm sorry that I haven't really uploaded, but I've had a crazy past 2 weeks, and as you can probably tell by the title of this video, I've lost people. I've lost two family members. Just in the last couple of weeks, you may have noticed that I uploaded my father's biscuits and gravy recipe. So yes, I lost my father on the 27th of January. And then I lost my niece Danielle on the 3rd of February. And Danielle wasn't really a niece figure as much as she was a sister figure. She was just a year older than me, and we grew up together throughout my childhood. We often shared a bedroom, and we fought like sisters. So we were definitely more sisters than like aunt-niece relationships. So that's been really hard. Probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to go through in my life, and I'm okay. It hurts, and grief is a really weird thing, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. I want to talk about grieving, because I've been doing that a lot lately, unfortunately, and it's kind of been a theme throughout my life. Let me give you a little bit of background on me. This is not meant to be like a pity party. I promise you, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not looking for your sympathy or anything like that. I'm just trying to like relay to you why I'm talking about this and why I might have these feelings and why maybe I'm in a position to discuss them. Of course, I'm not a grief counselor or a psychologist or anything like that. I don't have a background in that, but I think real life experience must have some weight to it. So anyway, here we go. So the first person that I ever lost in my life was my grandmother. It was my mom's mom, and we were best friends. We lived in the same house, and I would sleep with her like every night. I had my own room, but I always wanted to sleep with my grandma because she was like my best friend. And I was 6 then, and when you're 6, you don't really have a complete understanding of what's going on, but I was able to realize over time that I would never see her again. And then I lost my mom when I was 10. I was almost 11 years old, and that was really, really hard, especially being at that age and it being so sudden. And yeah, that was just a really long, depressing time. And I've had people tell me this, that I've always kind of been like ahead of my time, and like I'm 27 now, so I should have a pretty good grip on things. But even as a kid, I kind of just had like an older mind, if that makes sense in some ways. You know, of course I was still 10, but during the grieving process for that, I never allowed myself to be happy because I felt guilty. And now, losing more people, I don't feel guilty for having moments of happiness, if that makes sense. In July, my husband lost his grandmother, Helen, who I was pretty close with. I actually knew her longer than I knew my biological grandmother, so she was somebody who I really loved, and I still miss, of course. And then we lost his grandfather, who was really the only grandfather figure I've ever had in my life, because both of my biological grandfathers had passed by the time I came onto this earth. And we lost him in October. So we had that happen, and then my dad passed, and then now I've lost my niece slash sister. And this time it's really different. With Danielle, my niece, being so young, only 28 years old, that was a much different type of grief, a much different feeling of sadness, because she was so young. Like, my mother was still pretty young when she passed. She was only 52, but, you know, she wasn't necessarily in, like, the prime of her life. Not saying that if you're in your 50s, you're not, you know, in good shape and you're not valid or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, by the time you start to hit your 50s, you know, your health usually, typically, kind of starts to decline. You know what I mean? I don't know. I digress. But losing Danielle really made me feel like I lost, like, a part of my life. And I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry, like, a part of my heart, because we grew up together, and like, all of my, like, memories of holidays and everything, she was, like, right beside me. She was, a peer. She was, somebody that I looked up to. So, that's been really hard, but let me get on to the meat and potatoes of this. Sorry, I'm crying. If and more reasonably, when you lose somebody, don't make the same mistake that I did when I was young. You're allowed to be happy, and if the person was sane and a normal person and somebody who cared about you, they wouldn't want you to be sad the whole time. And it's okay to laugh. It's okay to even want to distract yourself from the reality and the gravity of what's going on temporarily, but do that in a safe way. I'm gonna sound like your DARE class, but it's true. Don't use substance to escape, especially from grieving, because you're gonna deal with it eventually. It's gonna come out. But also, don't feel weird because you don't grieve like the next person or the next person, you know? We all process things in a different way, and grief takes on different faces, and it's not a linear process. Just because you're out of the, you know, denial stage and you're in the anger stage or what have you, doesn't mean that you won't go back to that. So just keep that in mind. And really, losing someone, if you can find a way to turn that into a glass half full type of thing, which sounds impossible at first, but if you can turn it into something beautiful, then that's really an amazing thing. And what I mean by that is to honor them, or to be thankful for the time that you had with them. And that's actually the point that I wanted to make. The best attitude that you can have when you're grieving is gratitude. And even though I've lost 2 people really recently and back to back, I still have not lost the gratitude for the things and the people that I still do have in my life. And during this process, people's true colors show, and that is kind of a gift in itself, because you then know who your true friends are, and you know who cares about you. And I feel incredibly blessed because my coworkers and my bosses have been really understanding and just so generous to me. Guys, I can't even say. And a really long time friend, my best friend, Jenny, she came and drove 2.5 hours up here to Lafayette just to spend a few hours with me after my dad passed. And when people do things that are so selfless like that for you, you can't help but to feel gratitude. And just because you lose somebody, or some people, in my case, in your life that have impacted you and you know, guided you and just meant so much to you, it doesn't mean that your life is over, and it doesn't mean that you should give up and that you should just take an angry attitude and just be mad at the world. And like I said, everybody grieves differently, and I think it's okay to be angry, you know, for some of the time, but you can't hoard that anger. That's just gonna do more damage to you. But in conclusion, when you find yourself in grief and just in that terrible pit of hopelessness, find something to be grateful for, and you will find your way through it, okay? I do appreciate you all watching, and hopefully my upcoming videos are a little bit lighter, and hopefully I won't cry in them. Hopefully I have more good things coming my way. But I'm in good health, thank God, and you know, I have a job and I have a car and my rent's paid here, and I have a loving husband, and I have other family members who care about me and that I love. So I love you all. Even if I don't know you, I love all 25 of my subscribers. And if this is the first video that you've watched from me, I promise I don't get so emotional. I'm an Aquarius. I usually keep it pretty stony. But yes, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day. Bye.